I think everyone is born an artist. I think it's just about finding what you're passionate about. I think everyone, as soon as they find what they're passionate about, the whole world opens up for them, right? They just need to know what inspires them, what gets them up every day. That's why I chose the job that I do, right? Working with youth and supporting youth victims of exploitation. Through art, I was able to kind of connect with that. If you have kids that are struggling with school, maybe not showing up all the time, or maybe they have drug addictions, things like that going on, why don't we flip it to them? And we have certain issues we want to talk about, but let them express it in their own way and be creative about it, right? It's like, even if you take the average person, when we learn about art, we go to a museum or whatever, a Vancouver Art Gallery, it's really exciting to learn, right? Because you're learning through a different kind of method rather than just reading a 10-page paper. And that can be considered really dry and boring, right? So the whole point of art is it's supposed to provoke thinking and challenge people to think differently and think outside the box.
I think art is sets people free at that a younger age. If they find out they've got a talent, or there's something they can do with art, they turn it around and rather than become aggressive towards something, they become more passive.
For one, when you talk about at-risk youth and trying to help them out of their situations with whatever they're struggling with, we have to find innovative ways to reach them. And maybe an at-risk youth doesn't want to go and read studies and go online and search academic papers, right? Maybe that's not what they're interested in doing in the way that they learn. So we have to think of new ways to get youth engaged. As I said, whether it's minorities, different types of youth that we're working with in the system, maybe some youth don't always feel included in the way the curriculum is, the way things are taught and the subjects that we talk about. So why don't we turn it back to them and let them discuss what inspires them, what pushes them to get up in the morning, what gets them actually involved in making a difference in the community, rather than telling them the way they should think. That's really what I think. That's where art comes down to it. It's really important to get youth to express themselves through their own means. And we also have to talk about positions, right? Like if you're a teacher at the front of the class looking down at a student on top of them, right? That's intimidating, especially for a kid with disabilities, right? But by sitting next to them and doing art with them, their mind is off to something else and they let go a little bit and feel more comfortable speaking.
It's tough to get funds from art people to donate to art program. I don't think they've been educated enough. I don't think they understand what's going on here. We're looking at an arts program, and they probably look at it like I look at The Voice of Fire. It's a piece of junk. And art is beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So now you're dealing with everybody out there. You're asking them to judge some art. And should they give money to it or shouldn't they? They're saying, gosh, this is just art. That's simple. It's just art. And that's what they're saying. It has no intrinsic value. It has no commercial value. It has no, everybody's an artist. And why should we say that some people are worth more than others? They're not. They can't, the people that are putting money to can't put a value on it. And they won't put a value on it. Therefore, they won't donate.
Well, I think art is extremely important. It's really unfortunate that there's not a lot of funding, and that's kind of the first thing that kind of does get cut is art programs. I don't know numbers or anything, but I think it would be a good focus. And even look at the kids working at the childcare, they're a lot more happy when they're creating stuff, and when you're a child, you just have this huge imagination. You just want to create things, and you kind of, I don't know if it's school, they kind of structure you and they cut off those creative outlets for you, and then people lose it. So I think just having that conversation of how important it is and how much it can change somebody's life. Yeah. And art's so many different forms too.
she was very withdrawn all the time. All the time. Couldn't express herself, nothing, just sit there, you know, and not talk, not say anything to anybody. Very withdrawn. And I think Willow came along and she kind of come out of her shell.
I found out I was pregnant, and I was 5 months pregnant, and it was kind of like, I need to make that decision right now, whether I was going to keep her or not. And I chose to keep her, and it was the best decision in my life because it really changed my life around 180 degrees. Quit doing everything, and I went back to high school because I dropped out before. And then, Cabby was probably the best. It was funny. I'm like, I'm never going to Cabby. And then I had Willow, and they called me, and they're like, you need to come to Cabby. I was like, oh, damn. Okay, I'll come to Cabby. So I went to Cabby, and it was awesome. It was a parent program there. It helped shape me to be a better parent, and then that's where I was introduced to the art program, and that's where I started flourishing in art. And then Children's Street Society came in, and it really hit kind of home for me, I guess. At the time, the guy I was dating, he was not directly involved with the gang life, but indirectly involved, so it was really, really hit home.
They're taking these children of the street and redirecting them and finding out who needs help and going to that person and say, we're going to help you, we can help you.
Specifically in the program, we're focusing on at-risk youth, super high-risk youth. There's 3 different schools we go to. And a lot of these kids have, issues with drugs, could be exploited themselves. And through the program, they gain confidence by doing the artwork and presenting it at the end of the year in our gallery. So that goes a long way for the youth. Roxanne
would have pictures in the art shows. And they were always very excited about getting her art. And they all knew her, and they really, really liked her.
Well, I think that's the beautiful thing about art is you can tell your story through an art piece, and you don't have to verbally speak it. I think that was a big problem for me. I wasn't able to talk about the things that were happening, and it came out years down the road what was going on, but I wasn't able to in that moment. And I think art has that power of you can express your voice in that way, without having to actually say anything. Art's a very powerful thing. And it makes you feel better. I don't know. Like I was saying, I guess, through everything that I've been through, art was kind of just helped me through, and you kind of get stuck in that zone, and you just don't worry about anything else.
Oftentimes we see them doing rap, we see them doing slam poetry, spray painting, right? Different kinds of art that they can choose to work with. And through that, I think it's exciting for them, right? Because they're not following a certain kind of method that they're taught in school, right? You don't have to, as I said, write a 10-page paper or something so boring and stagnant. It's fluid. It keeps changing, and you can draw inspiration from anything. Or you take more recently, when we talk about exploitation, the Me Too movement, right? When we talk about the stats and what's going on with that whole movement, we've seen kids come up with very, very creative ways to express themselves through art. Let's add some diversity is what I'm saying. And there's no better way to do that than through art.